let's see here. I'm going to look and see who's inside the interface here. Okay, so I see Ali and Brita and Connie and David and Helen and Monty and Sparkle and Valerie. Okay, you guys are going to really have a good time here. I know you're going to enjoy this masterclass. If you aren't happy for any reason, if you don't feel that this was at least 3 times better than any college class you've ever taken, even if you paid $10,000 for that class. I know you didn't pay that much to be here, but even no matter how much you pay for that class, if you don't feel that this is at least 2 or 3 times better than any college class you've ever taken on finances or investing or anything like that, I want you to email our support team if you have any issues whatsoever. We have a great customer support team at support@theblackbusinessschool.com. That's support@theblackbusinessschool.com. Our goal is to make sure everybody's happy and to make sure everybody learns and things like that. So we will get you everything you need. After this session's done, I will send you guys out the recording of what we talked about today so that you can go over that, go over the stuff again if you'd like. I can give you guys access to the slides, all of those things. So this is the goal of this masterclass. The reason I put this together was I was actually putting something together for Philadelphia on Malcolm X's birthday. I was actually planning to go out there to do a day-long investing seminar, and we're going to cover those very same topics. And I said, it seemed like there were so many people that were all around the world that wanted to be a part of the seminar that couldn't make it to Philadelphia, that don't live in Philadelphia, wherever the case may be. So I said, okay, well, let me do a digital version of it and run everything through broadcast live stream so you could participate. And here's the thing, there are some things I'm good at, some things I'm not good at. One thing I'm very good at is teaching economics to Black people. That's all I think about. That's all I've obsessed over pretty much every single day, 7 days a week, including holidays for the last 30 years. That's all I've been thinking about is the Black wealth issue, solving economic problems for Black families, the way our problems and our challenges differ from everybody else's. And that's what I've committed my life to. So if I was a preacher, my gospel would be Black economic empowerment. And my goal is to help you catch the Holy Ghost, and then also to help you figure out how you're going to get to your own family's heaven. And the thing about it, the really interesting thing about investing is that investing really changed my life. Investing was when I really understood investing. It really became kind of the time where I stopped feeling like I was just cursed to be a Black man. I started realizing that a lot of the things that we're trained to worry about, the things that we're trained to believe control our lives, that there are ways around those things, that you don't have to go through life feeling like it just stinks and sucks to be Black. In fact, actually, one thing I figured out, and this is the first thing I'll definitely say to you, is that when you study millionaire families and you look at how millionaire families are able to figure how they're able to kind of do things a lot of people can't do, what you find is that usually somebody's able to benefit in this generation because of a plan somebody put in place in the previous generation. So a lot of super rich people usually say, I'm really rich because this is what my grandmother did, or this is what my grandfather put in place, or this property's been in my family for 70 years. And so, when I'm thinking about investing, investors don't think about the present that much. They only think about the present as a key to controlling the future, right? Investors only think about the present as a pathway to control the future. The present's when you plant the seeds. The future is when you're going to get the harvest. And most of the time, the biggest harvests occur about 30 to 40 years down the line. If you give me 30 to 40 years, I can turn any single person in this room into a millionaire. I can turn your family into a millionaire family. It's very easy to do. It's not hard. I can show you the math, and the math don't lie. The math does not lie. I've been a mathematician for a long time, and ever since I was young, 2 + 2 always equaled 4. And so basically what I'm going to do is show you very basic step-by-step principles that will allow you and your family to know everything you need to know about investing, to know everything you need to know about wealth building, to know everything you need to know about, where the money is, why some people in America have money and some people don't. And also how you can implement very basic, simple step-by-step plans that don't require a lot of energy. They don't literally, what's fascinating about wealth building is that when you really process it long enough, what you figure out is that basically you can actually build a massive amount of wealth for your children, especially by just doing exactly what you've been doing already. Exactly what you've been doing already. The only difference is that I'm going to train you how to take that same economic energy and just twist it a little bit, apply it in a different direction. So I'll give you an example. One of my biggest weaknesses economically was that I like to spend money. I'm a spender. I always have been. I don't know if anybody else is like this, but back when I used to have part-time jobs, I used to work at Taco Bell, and I would get my paycheck. And my paycheck, I would go cash it. That's what you do in high school. You go cash your checks, right? So I would go cash my check, and I would get in the bank teller or wherever I got the check cash. They'd be giving me all this money, right? And so I'm sitting here, I'm looking at my hands, and I'm seeing all these 20s, this big stack of $20 bills, and I was really thinking I had a lot of money. So I would just go and I'd start spending. It's like $10 here, $15 there, $5 here, $20 there. And each time I spent money, it wasn't a big deal. But for some reason, this weird thing would always happen. I would just spend a little, spend a little, spend a little, spend a little. Next thing you know, my pockets were empty. By the next Thursday, I would have no money at all. And I could not understand it. It was almost like when little kids play peekaboo. They say little children are around 1 year old, 2 years old, are fascinated by the game peekaboo. And the reason they're fascinated by peekaboo, the reason they go so crazy when you come back, is because when you cover your face and you hide, in the mind of a 1 year old or a 2 year old, you literally have disappeared from existence. Like you literally went to another dimension. You're gone. So when you come back, it's like you're literally reappearing for the first time on this planet. So they're like, oh my God, where did you come from? Right. And so that's the way I used to feel about money. I used to sit there and wonder, where did the money go? I'm spending $5 here, $10 there. How did my money disappear how does it disappear every time? Even though I'm only spending a little bit at a time. And that's the magic of money. So that magic, that money magic, where your money can just disappear and whittle away a little bit at a time, that's kind of how time is. If you're not keeping track of your time, next thing you know, you look up, you're like, oh my God, look at the time, right? There's something that happens subconsciously where you go through this process where you're doing something over and over again. You don't think it's a big deal, but it becomes a big deal, right? So that money magic, the same thing that works with time, where you're doing a little bit, and then it becomes a lot. That same thing happens in the opposite direction. The same thing happens with accumulation. You see, I know where rich people come from. I know where they come from. All rich people do is they do the opposite of what I used to do. When I used to nickel dime myself into the ground by spending $5 here, $10 there, not thinking that it mattered, not thinking that it was a big deal, and I ended up broke. Well, they do the opposite. They nickel dime themselves in the other direction. They're putting $5 in the stock portfolio, $10 here, $50 there. So like the little bit of money that we might spend going to McDonald's or going to see the Black Panther or going to get a new pair of shoes or going on vacation or buying a new car or all these other things. And they just sort of slowly but surely do that. And what they're also doing is not just consistently saving, but they're then able to participate in American economic growth. They invest in the stock market, and what that does is that makes their wealth connected to the wealth of America, right? So as the market's going up, as the rich are getting richer, they're getting richer too. Why? Well, because their economic outcome is connected to the wealthiest people in America, right? If you want to go somewhere, sometimes you don't even need to build a car. Sometimes you need to hitch your wagon to the person who's going where you want to go, right? So if you are an investor in the stock market, the reason that your money has gone up probably like crazy in the last 15 years is because you just hitched your wagon to America. Sometimes when you hitch the wagon, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Some of you, if you are already invested in the market or you thought about it, you've seen this week with Donald Trump and the trade war. What happened? The market went boom. Well, I hitched my wagon to the wealthy people, to the Trumps of the world, and my portfolio went kaboom. So when Trump makes an announcement and the stock market plummets and everybody on Wall Street is like, oh my God, we lost so much money. I'm sitting there thinking, oh my God, I lost so much money. But what makes me feel better is that when I look back and I look at the trend, I look at the trend. I'm gonna try to do a screen share for you guys real quick so you can kind of see this. I look at the trend of the Dow. And I look at the trend of the Dow over the last several years, and here's what I also see, right? It's just like a marriage, a wonderful marriage where they say, can you stand the rain? But you're married to a beautiful woman that everybody wants, but you have your rough days, you have your sunny days, and everybody loves them. But tell me, baby, can you stand the rain? Well, check this out. We've had some rain recently. The last 5 days, you've seen the stock market kind of go bad. That's why you see the red here on this chart. But look at the last 5 years. Look at that. Look at that. So I can stand the rain right here because they've been making it rain over the last 10, 15, 20 years. You see, I can stand the rain because they always make it rain. So it's okay if you're going to have those bad days, you're going to have those bad weeks, you're going to have those bad months. And what happens with a lot of our people, I believe, is that we get a lot of really bad investment advice. We have a lot of people that maybe because they have a big YouTube channel, they feel that they can talk about finances and money, and that's fine. They can do that, but they don't have PhDs in that topic. They don't have master's degrees. They've never made money before. They don't understand the mentality of wealth builders. You go back over and look at the max chart. Go back all the way to, let's say you've been investing for the last 20 years. Look at this. Look how low the Dow was back then. You could have bought at any point. So most of you were around in the 90s, and a person who started investing small amounts of money way back here, just whatever they had, $5 here, $10 there, $20 here, $30 there, $40 here, would be able to rise their wealth with the American economy. Now, what's fascinating about that too is that another aspect of financial magic that is absolutely mind-boggling, that actually even baffled the late Albert Einstein. Even Einstein was baffled by this, is that once you start making money, once you're on the train and once you get your money momentum going, once you've invested at a decent level, it's almost like money becomes very easy to make after a while. Money is very hard to get, or it's very easy to get, depending on where you are in the game. If you're a person that isn't invested at all and you just started, then it may seem like money's tough to get. But once you've been invested, once you've done that for a generation, and it's part of your family culture, you have a large amount of your family wealth tied up in the stock markets and the real estate markets and things like that, you'll find that making money becomes much easier, right? Because you're entangled, you're tied in with the fate of wealthy people. Now, again, there may be a day where wealthy people just all go broke. That can happen, but that has not happened in the last 200 years, not in the United States. So one of the quickest ways to minimize the gap between yourself and wealthy people is to do what they're doing and connect your money where they're connected. And so when I look at the president of the United States, Donald Trump, I don't get into whether I like him or don't like him. I don't get much into Democrat, Republican. I don't get much into his policies on the border wall or whatever they're talking about. I just tie my economic fate to his, because I know that he's watching the stock market and he controls the free world, whether we like it or not. And so if he makes money, I make money. And that was the goal. Right? The emotion doesn't have to be involved in the situation. The only time emotion really gets heavily involved is if you are a person who's locked out of the system, or you've chosen to not connect to the system and you feel somehow left behind. But I'm just here to tell you, point blank, straight ahead here, that you don't have to be left out of this. There are no barriers to investing in the stock market. There is no whites only sign. The stock market is not just for rich people. There are apps and all kinds of things that allow you to invest. And what I want to do is I'll go ahead and show you a little bit on one of the slides here. We're about to get started with the lecture. By the way, if you're watching on Instagram or on YouTube, just so you guys know, in a second, I'm going to go dark because I'm engaging with some students in the Black Business School. But I wanted you guys to see what we're going to cover in this stock market lecture series. So what I want to show you is this. Now look at this headline here. Okay, so this headline shows Beyonce, and Beyonce just pocketed $300 million, not because she found a way to do more concerts, and not because she did another movie, not because she made another great song. She got $300 million because she invested in Uber. Beyonce, and now think about this, $300 million is a lot of money for her, for anybody, but it definitely, even for her. She makes about 70, 80 million a year, but that's when she's working. You see, but what Beyonce has figured out, apparently, which a lot of people have figured out, is that it's easier to make a lot of money when you're not working if you are an investor. Another person, here's Nas, the rapper Nas. Nas acquired a piece of a company called Pluto TV. He's acquired, percentages of a lot of companies. And what's happened actually for some of these celebrities is that they've given them the opportunity to use their brand value, their massive brand value, as part of the equity in the deal. So they may put up a little bit of money, but more importantly, they ask them, can you go out and make this brand trendy? Can you make people want to support this brand? Who was it? LeBron James signed on with a pizza company, and they said, look, you can put in a little bit of money, but more than your money, we actually want your brand. We want the fact that everyone loves you, and we want you to go out and tell everybody about this company. And that's what LeBron did. And so LeBron made tens of millions of dollars from this pizza company, and it's much easier to make money investing than it is to make money by playing basketball. So basically what I want to do is Not so much. I know that most of us are not Nas, most of us aren't Beyonce, most of us can't play basketball like LeBron, but most of these things that they're invested in, these publicly traded companies, are things that anybody can invest in. There is an approach, there is a way to think about wealth and think about money and think about what you do with money that positions yourself and, more importantly, your children and grandchildren to be in a strong economic position long term. So I'm going to give you a quick overview one more time of what we're going to cover in this masterclass. And those of you who are listening on Instagram, you can actually, or Facebook, or YouTube, you can actually sign up still at drboyceseminars.com. We're going to cover how to buy your first share of stock and start your portfolio. That's what we're going to cover this week. Next week, we'll talk about myths about investing. We're going to confront and knock down each myth one by one so that you can go back to your family and explain why what they're saying isn't true. Because a lot of our families don't invest because we have these myths about investing that just aren't true. I know all of them, and I know exactly what the response is. 3, I'm going to show you how to build a bank in your family. Why is that important? I did that lecture because I saw that there were a lot of our people who were struggling when it comes to starting businesses and investing in their own businesses because they couldn't get access to capital. And so what I show you is how to build a bank in your family where you can be the banker and you start this bank in this generation. By the time your children are adults or your grandchildren are here, they'll have a family bank. So they'll have access to capital, whether white folks decide to give it to them or not. We have, for example, in our family, we have a family bank. We have a set of resources that people can go to. If anybody in my family wants to start a business and they come to the bankers, which is me, I'm kind of the patriarch of the family in that way. The investment idea makes sense. Then we invest that money and we build that business. It's much more fun to play the game that way than to let a good idea die because you don't have enough money to feed it. Right? A lot of our best ideas die because we don't have the wealth to feed those ideas. Well, I'm going to show you how to do that and do it the old-fashioned way, or at least we're going to do it the old-fashioned way, meaning we're going to lean on the ingenuity of our ancestors to help us figure out ways around the system. But then it's a modern way in the sense that this is a model that I put together specifically for Black people. It's not a model you're ever going to learn in any university, anywhere. You can go to Harvard, Yale, Stanford, any school. They cannot teach you this because they do not know this. They do not have these models designed because they only teach you how to operate in the broader economy. They're not focused on African-American specific issues and African-American specific wealth challenges that we have in our community. Next, I'm going to show you how to create a 100-year plan for your family. I'm going to show you how to make your family into a billion-dollar family if that's what you want to do. If you want your family to be billionaires in a couple of generations, it's very easy to do. But it takes time. It takes a lot of time. It's like growing a sycamore tree. I can grow 1,000 trees. I just need time for the trees to grow. If you ask me to give you 1,000 trees next week, I can't do it. But if you ask me to give you 1,000 trees in 100 years, I can give you 10,000 trees. It's not that hard to do. So I'm going to show you how to put together a 100-year plan that's going to make your family incredibly rich and make sure your great-grandchildren don't have to work. I'm also going to show you how to turn your child into a millionaire. What I'm going to do is base it off of the plan that the best way I can illustrate something to you is to show you what I'm doing. My niece was just born. My niece Amina is about 6 months old now, maybe 5 months. And my brother and I have a plan where we've done the math and we said, okay, by the age of 28, she will be a millionaire, and 28 is when we'll start giving her access to her own personal bank. And that doesn't mean she gets all the money. I mean, it's going to be in a trust. We're going to protect it, but we are going to make sure that she doesn't have to work for anybody if she doesn't want to. She doesn't have to go to college if she doesn't want to. She won't be crippled by student loan debt. She'll be able to buy a house whenever she wants to. She'll be able to do whatever she wants. She'll be able to make real money moves, not Cardi B money moves. Cardi B has that song where she says, "I make money move." Cardi isn't making money moves. Cardi's making her booty move, right, in order to get money. And that's what people do when they're desperate. When they're financially desperate, they do things. They have to drug people and shake their butt and all these other things to get money. Well, why do you do those things? Well, because you didn't have a parent or a grandparent that prepared for you to be economically stable enough where you can actually make money the way you want and make real money moves, not the kinds of moves that will have people putting $5 bills in your stripper thong. And I know that's silly for me to say that, but I bring that point up because I want to keep this real. Like, this is 100% real. If you don't prepare your children and your grandchildren economically, they will become slaves. That's what this system is designed to do. It's designed to build slavery. Next, we're going to talk about how to create an investment club. An investment club is a beautiful thing because in your community, you can bring together people who think like you. The best way to be a millionaire is to hang out with other people who are becoming millionaires. And then you all just follow the yellow brick road. You teach each other, you learn from each other, you build with each other, you invest in each other, you create an economy with each other. Next thing you know, the rest of the world doesn't even matter because you're making so much money in your circle that you're going to be doing well regardless, right? So this insulates you from racism. This insulates you from all the problems people have when they have to go work jobs. People have to go work jobs because they don't have an economic family. When you have an economic stronghold, you don't have to go work for anybody. You know, you go work for a corporation because you're not gang affiliated. And what I mean by that is economics, as books like Powernomics teach you, economics is a team sport. And a lot of us have to go slave for our oppressor because we ain't got no team. We don't have a team that has our back. So we have to go join somebody else's team and beg them to let us in, so that because if we don't, we'll be frozen, we'll be stuck out in the cold. But a lot of cultures are built around creating an economic team at an early age so that you don't really have to leave the community or the neighborhood unless you want to. You don't have to leave your house unless you want to. Next, last but not least, we're going to talk about terminology every investor should know. I'll break down everything from price earnings ratios to how stocks are valued, the difference between tech stocks and growth stocks and value stocks, and then talk about people like Warren Buffett and their investing style and just how all this works. So I'm going to break all that down for you. So everybody who's watching on YouTube or anywhere else, just know I'm about to shut this down and I'm about to address the students directly. If you want to sign up for this 7-week investing seminar, and you can sign up at any time, even if you sign up late, you can still get the recordings of the lectures. I'll make that available. You can go to drboyceseminars.com. That's drboyceseminars.com. And yes, this week's lesson will be available to view next week. So I will make sure that's available for you. And also, if you have any questions, any issues whatsoever about not just this, but anything in the Black Business School, we have a great customer support team. They're waiting for your email. They're always available for you 24 hours a day, whenever you want to email back and forth and talk to them. The email address is support@theblackbusinessschool.com. That's support@theblackbusinessschool.com. We need you to be happy. We need you to feel fulfilled. We need you to walk away feeling like your life has been made better. If you do not feel that way, then we have failed, which means that you should get your money back, or we should make it right. Whatever it takes, we will do it to make you better. We're better than college because universities, honestly, I don't see a lot of evidence that they care a whole lot about you. At least that's not how I felt when I went to school. I'll tell you the truth. We do care about you. We want to see you win. So anyway, all right. So I'm about to shut the stream down. You guys have a good day. I just wanted you guys to see what we're going to be talking about in case you want to sign up. So let's let the lecture begin. Dr. Boyce Seminar.